this feels like a must-win week for the Chiefs. You can't start 5-6. You can't go 5-6. You just simply can't afford to do it with Mahomes still on this roster, with Reid still coaching. And you look at their schedule, they still got the Colts, the Chargers, who they lost to, the Texans, the Broncos, and the Cowboys. You probably have to win 4 of those games if you want to make a playoff spot. Not an easy schedule. I mean, you probably want to win 2 of them because you also got, I think, the Titans and the Raiders, which I'm assuming they'll win right now. Yeah. But the ironic thing, the weird thing about the Chiefs, you really can't make an excuse for them. All their receivers are back and healthy. The coaching staff is the best in the NFL. For some reason, some of the fans are going after Andy Reid and Spags.
Saw that.
I don't get it. Like, if there's one coach in the NFL who is absolutely safe, it's Andy Reid for the rest of his time in KC until things really go south. Like I said, you got all your receivers. You're 4th in points against this season with only 18 points against per game, but you're 1-5 against playoff teams. And you can't close out. And that's what this team has specialized in for the entirety of Mahomes' career. The Chiefs have always prided themselves on being great when it matters and closing out games and not turning over the ball when you get to the red zone. And all the details that, sometimes fall beneath the cracks with other teams, the Chiefs, they got that tightened up. They're buttoned up in those aspects of their game. Not anymore. It's weird. And Mahomes, oddly, these past few weeks has not looked very good. And these past few years, I will say, he hasn't been the number 1 quarterback in the league. But when the playoffs have come around, and even this year, if they do make it, I'm not going to bet against them. I just can't. I don't think I can go to bed at night knowing that I bet against Mahomes, one of the best quarterbacks of all time. But if we're being for real, Steve, Mahomes hasn't been himself. Even with his healthy weapons, it just seems like there's something missing. They can't close out these games, and these are the games that they won, and that's the reason they ended 15-2 last year.
You're exactly right. That's their problem in Kansas City. First of all, they're 5-5 right now. They're probably the best 5-5 team I've ever seen. And honestly, they got the receivers. What's their excuse? I think talent-wise, they're more talented than they were last year, and they were the number 1 seed, went to the Super Bowl. But you said that's their problem. Well, they go 11-0 last year, 1-score games. They have 5 losses this year, all in 1-score games. They're 0-5 in 1-score games. Now, that wasn't sustainable. Why are they not winning these games? Because they're not closing. For years, Kansas City was banking on, well, we got the best coach, best quarterback, clutch tight end, Hall of Famer, Chris Jones, Spags. When it comes to fourth quarters, we're just going to control, get the ball back, either close it out or hit a game-winning field goal or touchdown and win the game. They're not closing these opportunities. They're either not getting the ball back like we saw against Buffalo or other teams with time left, or they're not converting on those, game-winning drives. And, that's the problem in Kansas City. And that's why this week against, Indianapolis, my team, it's absolutely must win. I never thought I would say that Patrick Mahomes in his prime is going to have a must-win game in Week 12. But here we are because they can't absolutely fall to 5-6. And now with this Texans win today, that I didn't really think that was going to happen because I thought Buffalo was going to, beat them. They're 6-5. If the Chiefs go 5-6, they're on the outside looking in. I mean, they already are, but they're going to be a lot deeper of a hole. And Buffalo's not even going to win their division, so they're going to be a wild card team. Baltimore looks like they're sneaking in. Pittsburgh may be holding on to dear life. They absolutely have to beat Indianapolis. And you said they still got to play the Broncos, the Chargers. Cowboys offense is waking up. That's going to be a heck of a game, a shootout. So, I still think they're going to make the playoffs. But, man, if they lose to Indianapolis and they're staring down 5-6, we could be talking about they're going to miss the playoffs. Like, life support here.
Yeah, you're almost in, must-win-out territory if you go 5-6. Almost. You can maybe lose one more, sneak in at 10-7. But you're right. The Texans winning 3 straight with Davis Mills is a huge shock, I think, even for their fan base. And you got to remember the Jags have the game in hand because they beat Kansas City and they're up a game. So technically 2 games in hand there. Baltimore, like you said, looks good. You can probably write the Bengals off. I don't think they're coming back with Burrow, even if he comes back healthy. But it definitely doesn't look good. And I was listening to, I think, the Kelsey podcast this week between Travis and Jason Kelsey, and they were saying, too, they firmly believe this Chiefs team is actually better than the team last year. And whether it boils down to like maybe last year the teams weren't as good in the NFL, I don't know. Their schedule this year has also been really tough. Like they've had 5 to 6 playoff games that they've played already. They have 5 more. They're playing 10 to 11 playoff games on the season. And when you're banking on these clutch, closeout, last-minute type deals, that's not always going to happen. And sometimes you roll the dice and it doesn't land on the number you need, and you're in oh shit mode. And I think that's where they're at now. If they do miss the playoffs this year, you're going to expect to see some big changes, because I don't think you're going to want to have a guy like Mahomes, who a lot of people have already come out and said will be the greatest of all time, or stacks up with a guy like Brady. You just can't afford that for a guy's legacy. Like, you just can't. I don't know when this ever happened with Brady, that he missed the playoffs like this in this fashion when they were 5-5, staring at 5-6 potentially against one of the best teams in the NFL. They're going to need to make some changes, and I don't think that's necessarily coaching, but like, it's head scratching to me. Like I said, because the defense has been great this year. I don't know. Do you see them in the playoffs? I know you said like they'll probably make it, but I honestly think the Colts are favorites this week. Like, I do. I think the Colts are a really good team if they don't turn the ball over.
The Colts should be the favorites just because they're playing better football.
Yeah.
I think their offense is just smooth. But yeah, man, I still see him making the playoffs because I just can't fathom Mahomes in his prime with Reed and Kelsey and Chris Jones ever missing the playoffs. Their schedule's always tough because they get the first place schedule. And then you have all the primetime games because they're the Chiefs, so they're always going to have a tough schedule. But they usually just still beat those teams anyways. Now it's like, psh. But it is confusing because I do think they are better than last year. They have their receivers. Brown, Worthy, and Rice have played for the first time these last couple of weeks ever before. And they're losing. I remember when they beat Detroit, I'm like, this is the best team in the league. And they're like 500. But they keep rattling off losses now. I'm like, what's going on? I don't think they'll miss the playoffs. I think they'll get in like oh my God. I saved myself from saying 6-7. I was trying not to get a 6-7 joke off. I was going to say 6 or 7 seed. I was trying not to get a joke off there. But 5, 6, or 7 seed and get in. They're not going to win. The division's over. It's Denver's for sure, even if they beat Denver towards the end of the season. I don't see him missing the playoffs, but that would be wild. Like you said, did Brady ever miss it in his prime? I believe the first year they won the Super Bowl, they missed right after. I think they missed in 2003. Or was it? It was 2002, sorry. They missed in 2002. But this does feel like the Patriots stretch in between that where they went 10 years after winning that last Super Bowl to that the third Super Bowl to the fourth Super Bowl, where they're just going to make some roster changes. Kelsey's getting a little older. Chris Jones, Spags. I don't know where you go with this, but they're going to have to make some changes, get some more support, definitely a running back around Patrick Mahomes, go into that next era of the dynasty like New England did.
Well, Kelsey's probably done, and I think they've hit gold with Spags because odds are he doesn't become a head coach, so you're good defensively. Like, it's really just an offensive thing of like just close out the games now. The defense is producing. Like you said, they've probably lost the division. Same with Buffalo, probably lost the division to New England. Really an odd season, I'll be honest with you. Like, I loved the Patriots going into the season. I loved the Broncos going into the season, but not in my wildest dreams did I think that they would actually win their divisions this year. Like, usually there's a year where they start looking better and then they take over. Mm-hmm. It was just flat-out takeover. And the Chiefs right now trapped at 9th in the standings on the outside looking in. It's tough. It's tough. I don't know what their future looks like if they lose to the Colts this week.